What is light?
Oh, wow. Light is a wave, the spectrum, photons, charged particles, color, visible and then non-visible, power, a wave that's oscillating. God, it's part of every living thing, everything that's moving.
Roughly 6,000 people work at Vanderbilt. Any one of them can change the world. I'm Jad Abumrad, new professor here at Vandy, and today I'm meeting, bing, Dr. Audrey Bowden. She works with light.
At its most basic level, light is a form of energy. Light isn't just visible, it's ultraviolet, it's infrared, and the color is related to the amount of energy that it has.
And all of those lights that we can't see are here?
Yeah. In fact, we're emitting light. If you had, a thermal camera, you'd be able to see we're all glowing in some way. So if I put my finger under here.
Wow, that's so cool.
You can see that your finger has multiple different layers in it.
Wait, so this right here is the top of your finger?
That's the top of my finger. So there's the dermal layer, the epidermal layer.
Do you mind if I stick my finger
Oh yeah,
in?
no, go ahead. Go ahead. So yours, you can really see the corkscrews of your sweat ducts there.
Does that mean I'm just like a sweaty guy?
It means you're human, right?
So much of your work is about using light to see into people. Can you explain how that works?
So light travels in a straight line until it hits a boundary. In the case of our interview, for example, there's a light source right here, and those light waves are propagating outwards and they're hitting my skin. And what you're seeing in the camera is a reflection of the light that bounced off of my skin. So my skin is basically like a partially reflecting mirror. And so what we're collecting with our specialized detectors as opposed to a standard camera is the sum of all of those reflections that come back.
So you're catching the bounce back?
We're catching the bounce back.
So the reason you're able to have this image at all is because some of the light reflects back at shallower or deeper parts than others.
That's
and then
right.
it's able to reconstruct a picture from that.
Right. I became fascinated with the concept of light when I learned there was this whole field called Biomedical Optics. This is an optics lab. There's a phrase that we use in my field called bench to bedside. So these are the lab benches, and the idea is that we start with the technology here, but our goal ultimately is to get them off the bench and next to the patient bedside. And so we use this technology for early stage cancer detection. So trying to identify emerging tumors before they're visible at the surface. We can see them growing and changing things below the surface.
One of the projects that Audrey showed us is how she is using light to peer inside the brain to help diagnose and treat kids with ADHD.
One of the challenges of neuroimaging for this population is that the gold standard for neuroimaging is an MRI machine. And I don't know if you've ever been in an MRI machine. It's not really a viable option to study effectively this condition.
But with this headband, they can have a kid do some math homework and then ask, what does their brain look like? What parts are active? What parts aren't, but could be?
So essentially how the system works, we emit light in the near infrared range and use these detectors to gather how much of our light was backscattered.
Do you ever just meditate with this on?
I should.
Yeah,
should
it'd
record
be interesting,
that.
right?
This is Seth, a PhD student in Dr. Bowden's lab.
The channels that we have here demonstrate different regions inside the brain that we are taking measurements from.
A lot of the work that we're trying to do is aimed at thinking about how can we design our technologies in a way that they're accessible. I believe that as I'm doing things, I should be, of all things, doing good. One thing that I do find interesting about light is that in some ways it does connect to my faith. So I'm a Christian, and the Bible talks about God is light. I think that's a really cool idea. I think that metaphor helps me understand at some level the way God works in us and through us. There's other things filling the spaces in between. I can't perceive them, but they're still totally there. It took understanding light to make that feel more real to me. My science and faith are kind of like another way of translating between the physical world and the non-physical world and bringing those two concepts together.